Welcome to Dead Dollies TV. My name is Angel Marie Connoisseur. Today we have...
My name is Jeff Kratzer, and we have special guest Jeffrey Scott, who's a special effects artist, an actor, among other things, and he's also works at bloodshed.farms.com. Oh, yeah. So, Jeffrey, besides bloodshed.farms.com, what else are your credits do you have?
Well, besides special effects, I work at Hockey Mart on the side because I have to have a day job to pay the bills. Special effects is basically stuff I do on the side. It's for fun, basically. I've helped out with a couple small short films. Some have actually, what did I say? You can get it on Amazon. I've helped out with the Creepers anthology with Jeremiah Kipp with his film Bernice, which is awesome. Jen Valdez, I've worked on Laid to Rest, and her first film, no, not first film, Isabel. And I've done a couple of Rest with a creepy guy with the hose. That wasn't creepy, but I was just a guy with a hose. Okay. My starring role there, basically. Well, if you watch it, you're a creepy guy with a hose. I'm just creeped out by hoses, so.
What did you do in Laid to Rest?
Basically, Laid to Rest, I did the special effects, some CG work, I love it, and everything. There's a dog back here in case you can't see.
That would be Blake the Hellhound.
Billy?
No, don't go that way.
No.
Come on. I don't even know where you're sure. Oh, he's over by Jeff. Okay, give him a minute.
Remember the conversation we had on the way over here about a certain person?
Oh, yeah.
You might want to remember that. And
Not a problem.
there you go.
I fully understand.
Okay.
So I just want to give shouts real quick. We have let's see, we have Miguel Rodriguez, Debbie Moore, Noel Holly, 13 the Butcher Pig, Melissa Hoffner, Daniel Huberry, Todd Sykes, Megan Kathleen, and that's it for now. Welcome to the show, guys, and I'll turn that back over to you guys.
Don't forget to like our pages on Dead Dolly.
With
Sorry,
an
just saying
S
that.
with an S on the end there.
Yes. Dead Dollies.
There are many.
Yeah, including Jeff, right?
No.
That's not what I hear.
So going back to Laid to Rest, as you were speaking about it. Sorry, we didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, we had dog interruptions.
yeah, the dog interruption.
That's right.
This is the part where we say good interview or bad interview. No about cop, bad cop. I'm leaving this one alone. There you go.
So one of the things I did on there, did the practical effects. There's a burial scene, so I actually did that. My wife actually did a lot of the demon design and application for makeup on that thing. And pretty much, I also do sound and boom and all that stuff for them.
So you said you did CGI.
No CGI.
No CGI. I'm sorry.
Practical.
All practical. Okay. So your wife's involved in the industry as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's actually a cosmetologist right now, so she does hair and makeup on that, but she likes the special effects that I do on the side also.
Does she do like prosthetics?
Yes, we do prosthetics. I do that actually for Bloodshed Farms, prosthetics, makeup, and everything for them.
Do you do like I know it's some that was interesting noise. I know it was some prosthetics when I was doing some research about prosthetics. I know in the early history they seem to do a lot of prosthetics. They applied prosthetics on top of prosthetics. Do you seem to do that a lot in the industry, or is that not really a common use anymore?
Prosthetics on top of prosthetics?
Yeah.
If I know what you're talking about,
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
It was they seem to use it a lot in the early years. They were using a lot of prosthetics to create a more effects of like a pullback effect and to make it more eerie.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like when they want to make someone, let's say, take their eye and like pull it down or something, so it looks like they have a creepy eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do still do this stuff like that today. Mostly today, though, they might use CGI because it is safer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're going to stand here with someone like this for hours on
Yeah.
end. Your eye kind of gets a little dry.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll have a piece of latex underneath it or over top. Should have put my hand over my mouth. Latex over that. So, case in point, if you ever see the movie Hannibal.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Oh.
I can't remember the Burns. Remember the character's name from Hannibal?
Oh.
Played by Gary Oldman. He was really.
You talk about the TV show or the
No,
movie?
the movie, the gentleman that's in the
Buffalo Bill or whatever?
no,
The second one.
the second one, the guy.
He played as the he was one of
He ends up
he was
in
one of
the
Hannibal's victims when Hannibal was still young.
Yeah, it was played
And
by Gary
he,
Oldman as an uncredited character.
Yeah.
I would like to take this time to guess that you were probably stupid and put your 2-liter bottle on the floor, didn't you?
I admit nothing, but yes,
Then the dog is taking it.
I kind of figured that, which is probably over there, which is fine. Because it's almost gone. Let's put that over there.
You have to be smarter than a dog.
I wasn't expecting a dog to die over there. Anyways, but my case in point was his eye was basically pulled open, and he had all of this prosthetic over his face to make him look an angle. But yeah, you have to think, case in point, hours on end on a set like this with your eye like wedged open like this looking around. A lot of eye drops.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Face Off, one of the things they say is you want your actor to be comfortable. There's another show, I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, about the airbrush.
Yes, I have.
I forget what that show was called, but that was amazing. And a lot of them failed because they put the person they were going to airbrush in an uncomfortable position. They weren't able to hold the position. So you always got to think about I'm going to say models, the comfort of your models. So if you got somebody with their eye pulled down for long periods of time, it's going to be uncomfortable after a while.
Right? Possibly even medical issues.
You know about somebody with the leaving their lenses in too long, ended up in the hospital.
Oh yeah, those lenses can be done.
So they left their contact lenses in too long, and they apparently stuck to both their eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's all about the comfort of your subject, as you would say, or whatever you want to call it.
Have you noticed any difference in the field from the CGI effects? Have you noticed any changes in the amount of work that you're receiving?
Not really. Yeah, look, there's work now.
Yeah, I got to take this. Yeah, not really. I mean, even though I do practical effects, I am learning myself how to design visual effects also. So, and it's really interesting seeing that. Hopefully, I can add that as a tool with what I do to kind of, make a blend. So not fully CG, not fully practical. There's a difference between both.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Absolutely.
I recently found out, I know you guys were talking on about another show, or one of your other ones about the remake of Freddy Krueger. We were talking about he looked like a cat.
Yes, you did.
And I recently found out from another podcast the reason why he looked that way, he was all CG.
What?
They CG'd his head. Apparently they want to make him look more like a burn victim. When you burn, you shrink. So they apparently CG'd a lot of his. It wasn't makeup; it was CG. It was all computer, and that's why he looked so odd and his head looked so small.
Oh gosh, I did not know that.
I totally forgot about it. I watched it on the, I guess the DVD extras, and was watching a show recently where they discussed how they hated the fact of CG, and that's the point they brought up.
So they CG'd his entire face, and that's why.
Most of it.
Yeah. Like you'll see his normal face, like side by sides. He'll have like a big hole on the side, and see through it.
Yeah.
That's all CG on top of the prosthetics. But then they'll thin his face out.
Right, they did a lot. I don't even know if they had any prosthetics.
They did. He wore prosthetics. It's just, afterwards they took CG to it. Another thing, the Thing sequel and or prequel, whatever you want to call it, they started out with practical effects first, and they looked great. But some executive or someone high up said, "Nah, let's change it all," and made it all CG. And then you got what you saw on the screen, which really wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare it to the original.
Oh, the original, hands down.
Yeah, John Carpenter's awesome.
Yeah.
I recently saw one where they had a gun, and the bullets were CG. And you could see the muzzle flash was cartoonish. But the worst part was the girl took the gun and went like this to go this way. And as she panned and pointed the gun towards the camera,
Yeah.
you could see that they didn't even make a barrel. It was flat. There was no place for the bullets to come out.
Yeah.
But they figured, oh, well, that'll be covered in CG. Not thinking that when she's not firing, you can see that there's no barrel.
Or not even a recoil either. She's just panning.
Oh, I don't know about that. I was more fascinated with the fact that it was flat. And I was like, oh my God, they're using a Party City gun.
Oh, jeez.
I'm trying to think of what movie I just watched. They had the exact same thing where the bullets were firing and literally the gun was not even.
And it might have been the same thing. It was one of them things like Guardian of the Galaxy is a big movie, and they come out with Galaxy Guardians. And it's like the knockoff. It's usually,
Yes.
what's that? The guy that was just,
Salem or something?
no, who was the guy that was just C. Thomas Howell or whatever? It usually has him in it. They did World War instead of War of the Worlds, and it's always just like slightly different. And it's usually that guy who was just at Monster Mania, C. Thomas Howell.
And what's really crazy with that is you can't copyright a title, so I don't understand why they don't just capitalize on the other title and call it, like in that example, War of the Worlds. Why not just call your movie War of the Worlds? Add a Z instead of, and that way you're not you're not losing out on that. But yeah, it's a little bit of craziness that you get these cheesy movies. I don't want to take everything away from them, but I will say one of the biggest perpetrators of that is sci-fi.
Oh yeah, definitely sci-fi. I think I was watching sci-fi. I think that's where I saw the bullets thing.
Yeah,
So they did do Dog Soldier. I like Dog Soldier.
Dog Soldier.
I have to admit that it was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, did you hear recently Rick Baker, the guy who did most of the props for like Star Wars, for Thriller, The Exorcist, like all the major movies, he had to close down shop.
Really?
Yeah. He said that there was no that his due to CGI and the lack of people not coming to him for props and having a huge space and getting close to retirement, he decided that it was time to just sell his props and retire.
Another thing with Baker is he's been around for a while, and there's new people coming.
Yeah.
So it could also be that, as you said, he's retiring. He's up there. So
and he said it was time. He didn't want to be bitter. He's like, I don't want to be the bitter people that are in the Hollywood right now that are still in the field. And so he had a big auction of his items. And he sold off like the Star Wars stuff, the Thriller stuff. Like he did like a big auction. He sold about 400 of his props, like major props, and he closed down his shop.
Oh, thank God, Adam Green.
Oh yeah, he probably bought every one of them.
No, Adam Green does. He still believes in practical.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
test sports here.
Huh?
Testing.
But I don't know. But he does Hatchet. I don't know about the fourth one. It just hopefully he's still stuck with that. But he believes in practical, and he did all the Hatchet movies practical.
Yeah, that's always good. I haven't seen the fourth one yet. Have you?
No, it comes out February 6th.
Get it on Amazon.
I already got it ordered. So I was almost late today waiting for Jigsaw came out today.
Haven't seen that one either.
I saw
It's in
it.
my car.
It's different. That's the best way I can describe
Yes.
it is different.
It definitely is different.
Hope so. After what 7 movies, they're transforming.
Well, speaking of Jigsaws, we were talking about being gamers. The pig is coming out for Dead by Daylight.
Mhm.
There'll be a playable character, the Saw pig.
Wait, what?
You know that the girl dresses up in a Saw pig costume from Saw. You ever see the pig?
Yes.
Okay. There's a game called Dead by Daylight. And they have they have actual killers, but now they brought in known killers. They got Freddy, they got Michael. I don't think they have Jason, because Jason has Friday the 13th.
Jason has his own.
But they're coming very soon. It's going to be the Pig Killer from Saw. It'll be a playable character, and it's sort of like Friday the 13th, but you have to fix generators, and the generators allow you to open up a door to escape.
It's only one way to get
Interesting.
out of it.
So I guess what I wanted to hear everybody's opinions on tonight would be a little bit more of a, going way, way, way back. I mean, going back to like 20s, 30s, the practical effect, like with what they didn't have back then, that compared to what they had, like say in the 80s or even the 70s, and how there's a long time period in, I want to say maybe like 40s to 60s where everything was horror. Sci-fi hadn't yet been classified as sci-fi, and you had all the creature double features and all that kind of stuff, and get your opinions on, that whole field of effects. Guys like Lon Chaney Jr. and Lon Chaney Sr. And things like that.
Most of them guys, he's known for, he did it with his facial expressions.
Yep.
Not a lot of makeup, not a lot of stuff like that. And as far as the practical effects, a lot of that was stop motion.
Yeah, what is the guy's name? I'm messing up the guy's name. I actually blanked right when I thought of it when you said that. He did the Sinbad movies. Stuff like that with the stop motion. Skeletons is one of the major scenes that a lot of people reference when they say.
I actually have his box set.
Mm-hmm. Using stop motion for effects.
He also did Jason and the Argonauts.
Yes.
The original.
Actually, I think that's where the skeleton scene is, where a whole bunch of skeletons attack a bunch of characters, and just the blending of. Isn't it Ray something? Ray has. Maybe someone watching can drop a hint or something. I don't know. Could look it up on Google.
I got it right now, so you continue to talk.
All right. So
I'm trying to see if it's on here.
we got book and internet. Which is going to get there first? Pretty faster.
Pretty faster.
Well, you go right on talk.
But yeah, and there's a certain quality to the practical effect, whereas the stop motion is actually a physical thing in front of a camera. But it, obviously, stop motion is where you have a maquette, someone would move it, and it would mimic normal movement.
We also did Mighty Joe Young.
Oh yeah, sure.
We're going to go with Ray, because it's Harry Hawes.
Carry on. Okay.
But he did Mighty Joe Young, which just stop animation. He did, of course, Sinbad, Jason the Argonauts, and it's the thing you're talking about is the famous sword fight with skeleton warriors. With seven. Apparently that was the big thing.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other things, talking about stop motion and effects, one of the bigger monster movies, I guess you could say, is King Kong, the original, where that whole thing was all stop motion for a puppet this big.
Well, and this, from Video Hound Horror Show, this book, in the silent era, it said that in 1910, Thomas Edison produced a 16-minute version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with horrifying monster makeup created by the star of Charles Ogan. For years, it was thought that all the prints had been lost, and they actually found and discovered one that was sold in auction recently. So I think that would be the earliest, I believe, probably in the horror movies, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, I didn't know that part. I know the original Frankenstein that everyone has seen with,
Is it?
oh my God, I'm actually blanking on that. Yeah, Boris Karloff, thank you. Yeah, you can correct me out loud. Everyone knows you're doing it. Just like Boris Karloff. Thank you.
I want to throw a comment in here from an audience member. We have Vince Brando, who says, I agree with trying to do as much in-camera as possible. I'm taking an editing break for rendering right now. Laugh out loud.
Are you going to talk about Scotch tape?
Scotch tape. I wouldn't want to talk about Scotch tape.
Because that's how he did his eyes.
Oh, yeah. So,
His special effects to keep his eyes slitted. His eyes were Scotch tape.
yeah, so I did believe, if I remember correctly, they pushed it down with the Scotch tape. And also,
No, that was to make his slits.
Yeah.
So I think his eyes were actually taped. Yeah, you imagine that? Talking about keeping your, right.
and having something over it, too. I don't know if they had,
Are you talking about this guy?
no, that's the Phantom.
No, sorry.
Totally. Actually, I think the Phantom might actually be the first movie maker silent, because that was a silent movie originally. Yeah, and all that.
Because they talk about how much.
No, first one.
No, the first one would be.
Nosferatu.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Correct.
Well, which one did actually come up? Nosferatu or the Phantom of the Opera?
I believe Phantom, yes, let me say Phantom. Nosferatu,
we'll
I believe, was the first.
You always look that up.
That's right here.
Hey, welcome to Google.
Yeah, right. We have Ken Harrington says, seen the photo of the original Frankenstein, not Karloff. Really a goofy looking character. Now, I believe he would be referring to the Edison version from the teams.
Yeah, I believe.
From I want to say around 1916, 1917, but I could be wrong on that. And another comment real quick with Ed Miller says, hi, Angel.
Hi.
But yeah, I'm in the back of my head now, like trying to remember which came first, because I know there was one in the teens, but I know there was also a short film done in silent that I believe was in the 1800s.
Well, in
What
1920s,
was,
was Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, too.
Yeah, but totally good. Hey.
Wrong genre there.
There you go. Oh, was it what the heck is that? It's something along that same lines.
Dr. Caligari, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh, it almost looks like somebody we know.
Is that the one you were thinking of, Jeff?
What?
The Cabinet of Dr.
Yes,
Caligari.
thank you. Yeah, that's yes, thank you.
Oh, gosh.
They were talking about Charles Vogel as the monster.
Ooh. That is,
We need to put this picture up on. Show this guy's good.
oh, gosh.
Not as sophisticated as the Karloff one. It was a little different.
Who was your favorite? Universal.
Ooh. That's a tough one.
Not for me. Creature. 100% the Creature. They're supposed to remake that soon.
Well, they did. It's called The Shape of Water.
No.
Is it?
No.
What is the Shape of Water? I'm sorry. Tell me that later.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk off there.
I want to find out what the Shape of Water is because I heard about it recently.
Yeah, I'll explain all of that to you. So,
I don't know. I like really bad horror movies.
That's not really, I don't think that's,
but it's not a horror. It's more of a sci-fi.
it's more of
But we're not talking about The Shape of Water. That
Yeah.
just won a Golden Globe and is now being
So
accused
who's
of
your
plagiarism.
who's your favorite Universal?
Frankenstein. But, you know, Dracula is a close second. Only because I like Boris Karloff. Yeah,
See, I'm
that's
on
why
top.
he's ahead.
I'm on the tie. I'm on the tie, like between Frankenstein and the creature. I like both of them.
I like Boris Karloff because he actually stepped into Frankenstein after Bela Lugosi passed because there was no lines in there. Originally, there was going to be lines, and Bela Lugosi was cast as it. Even had a makeup test and everything. He passed when they found out they took out all his lines. He's like, oh, I ain't doing that. I'm a big star. I play Dracula. So here comes Boris Karloff. He was a stuntman and all that. Took it over, and well, there you go.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that do that. I mean, look at Kane. Yeah. He was a stuntman, and now he does movies.
Boris Karloff actually did a lot of his own stunts back then because they didn't have stuntmen like they do today to take off dirty stuff. He actually hurt his, I think he broke his back.
Just ask Burt Ward. Sorry.
We got another comment here. Let me real quick also say we have actor Robert Mutes watching the show tonight. But another comment from Vince Brando. He says, I have a question for you guys. What do you think of making a purposely bad film, like leaving errors in like off-screen crew and audio reverting to old effects and transitions purposely to poke fun at cheesy work?
I don't know. I find it interesting. I watched a movie, and, well, of course, reverting to this is something Uncle Timmy would talk about, where why the girl was getting killed as they went from different scenes, her top was on, her top was off, her top was on, her top was off. But it was supposed to be the same killing scene. And I'm like, did they not pay attention to the fact that the girl was, you know, her top was on in one scene and the next scene, and it was like, but then again, they could have done it. I like stuff like that. I like stuff that makes fun of itself. One of my favorite movies was it Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That was a good movie, by far.
Now, Ken Harrington also replied to Vince. He said, Vince, like Lost Skeleton of Cadabra. So I've never personally seen that, but I'm imagining that it has a
Lost Skeleton.
Well, a lost skeleton as well, but I'm assuming that it does that with the intentionally bad effects and things like that.
Well, Plan 9.
Oh, God, that was a movie that took itself way too seriously, and you saw what happened there.
But did they? That's the question.
Well, in Ed Wood's mind, he was like, I'm making probably the greatest movie ever.
Or was he making the greatest troll ever?
I don't know. That's a good
I mean,
question.
he substituted Bela Lugosi for a guy that was a different height.
Well, because from here,
The saucer was a paper plate.
yeah, with the cup on top.
Right.
I mean, you saw the cockpit for the plane. It's like this cardboard cutout for the wheel, and it's like, okay, what the heck? So,
But it wasn't the greatest troll ever.
maybe he was the first ever troll.
That's right.
It was a good movie, though. I love watching it.
But a lot of the movies that try to be good that end up being stupid are the best cult films.
Oh, heck,
Buckaroo Banzai.
oh yeah.
And they get the most talked about, and which creates more people to see it.
It's that buzz build. It's like,
Yes.
have you seen this movie? It's so bad, you gotta watch it. It's so bad,
Exactly, like
it's
the
good. Exactly.
stupid Sharknado movies.
I refuse to talk about that.
Sorry, I'll talk
Sorry.
about them because I think they're the best things ever.
See, Sharknado. They started with the first one, and now we're up to I don't know how many.
5, I think.
Yeah,
But
and
after a while, they actually started making fun of the fact that they were so bad.
They did that from the beginning.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Oh, yes.
so like it makes you wonder.
Shocktopus. I've seen them all. What was the one? What was the alligator movie?
Lake Placid?
Lake Placid. It was like they had Lake Placid versus
But they,
Oh, yeah, Lake Placid for Anaconda.
Yeah.
but they even
But
had
Lake
Robert.
Placid-
They had Robert England involved in that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lake Placid, I mean, Betty White. What more do you need?
Exactly.
giant alligator?
And she was the bad person.
Or, I mean, crocodile.
Well, she wasn't exactly the bad person. She just had the phallus language through the whole movie.
She was
We-
Betty White.
We gotta get into that one time on your shows. What do you think about when the killer turns out to be typecast?
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, in Saw, one of the Saws, the killer was the dumb girl from Becker, the idiot secretary. And then American Psycho 2, the killer was Jackie from that 70s show.
I know.
And then that just ruins it. It's like, but she's an idiot. She's an idiot. Same with the dumb girl from Becker.
I got another one of those.
Well, you can hold that thought. I do have to going into our 30-minute spot here. I have to do a couple plugs here and make sure I get word out on our sponsors. Marie,
Yes.
you can grab. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can grab those 2 books there. They're going to be hard to see on camera, as somebody pointed out to us. But it is product placement, and these books will be given away tonight. We have the actual numbers in that hat back there. We're not going to do that drawing right now. But for everybody who commented on the show 2 weeks ago, you'll be
the butler did it. Okay, good luck.
we'll be picking out the winner of these 2 books and getting to that. But this is from our sponsor,
Robots.
Zombies versus Robots.
I still think the butler did it.
We have books 1 and 2. We also will be getting in the mail very soon books 3 and 4. So we will be hopefully very soon giving away a set of all 4. But that is Zombies versus Robots. You can find them actually on Facebook as Robots versus Zombies. And then one of our other sponsors has just joined us in the room. That would be Jimmy Jones of Erosion Factor Radio Show, which airs every Wednesday, 3 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. So make sure you visit their pages and show them some love. And now we'll go back to it. Now, we will have a new sponsor as of next week, but those are our 2 sponsors. We'll make sure we hit them again later in the show. And let's take it back to our discussion, which you guys feel free at any time to move into the other thing if you want to move into it. We'll touch on it tonight, but we're not. I'd rather do that in like the last third of the show, like the last half hour, because we do have, again, the drawing, and we have a very special unboxing tonight.
Ooh. Very interesting.
It is not a dildo.
Is that your first go-to on everything?
Yes.
Unboxing. Is it a dildo?
Have you been on the show?
I've seen it.
I've never.
I mean, look under Uncle Timmy's casting couch.
Yeah, Uncle Timmy, but not you.
Okay.
Of course, then again, I've seen your lunchbox. So
That's right.
Yeah,
It's in the car. You're hungry.
No, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna dredge up those memories again.
Oh gosh.
Let's segue into something else.
Yeah, before I start talking about I wouldn't do that to my guests.
What?
Only when you're in the comments.
So, you have any other projects coming up?
I do, but I cannot talk about them right now. Yeah, unfortunately, I am in pre-production. Hopefully, a short this summer. There's one that I actually just did for winter, so hopefully that'll be coming out soon. So I can't wait for that, but I can't say anything about it. Unfortunately,
Is there any other shorts you can talk about?
I don't know. Is there? Are we ever going to finish it? I'm waiting on you.
Yeah.
You actually want to talk about it? I can plug it.
That's right. There you go. You can plug it. That's one of your projects.
So, me and Jeff here actually got together and we did a little short called Uncle Timmy's Bad Day. So we're hoping to get that finished up and hopefully get it out to the masses.
And the last thing we have is actually a practical special effect.
I know, the incredible
That we
left
have
shot.
to do, yes.
I tried to convince him to do it, in real time, but now let's use the prop.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say what it is. They got to watch it. Got to see it.
Yes.
So,
We don't want to talk about that.
so hopefully that'll come out soon.
But it is a practical effect, so it fits in with the show.
Yeah, actually everything we did in there is practical. No CG.
That's true.
Yeah. So Jeff did his own stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this going to be on Facebook
We're
or
not sure what we're doing with it yet. It's going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
it's going to be somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll just upload to YouTube or I don't know, Circuit.
Maybe we'll get it to LC.
Oh yeah. Jeez, filler for crap.
That's right.
And you can always like send me your when you have it all cut. You can always send me your MP4s, and I can upload them into our YouTube and give you credit for that, to where it's airing on our channel as well.
Maybe we're on Creepy Manor. Ooh. It is Uncle Teddy.
That is true.
It's possible. We'll have to talk about that.
I forget. That's another thing, and I'm sure Jay knows about this. You film for hours. You think you have hours of footage, and you edit it all together, and it's like, what?
What are you gonna? Yeah, it's 2 minutes. What? We spent like 10 hours working on this.
Wait, how long is it?
That's what we don't remember.
I don't remember. No, it's a short. They say a good short is supposed to be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to keep your interest,
Right.
and then when you're done, you can move on.
This will definitely keep your interest.
Or you'll turn it off right away. I don't know. Something will happen.
Oh gosh.
Well, yeah. Speaking from experience, I can say that there were times when it was like, okay, hey Jeff, do you think you can come down and film this like little scene? Like, I need 3 more minutes to make up for to have the episode.
2 days later.
And it's like, didn't figure it out when we were filming because we're not doing watch back till much later. But yeah, when you find out that all your actors, even though you keep saying in between shooting, like, okay, you just slow it down. This has a pause here, and they're just going blah, 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 my line is done. Like, but I think that's a very important part of filmmaking in any way is pacing. Like, so
I just wanted to go fast because I was afraid the actress was going to really hit me eventually.
Oh, well, I was actually trying to get her to.
Yeah, I know.
We did a film years ago where an actress who's from the local Philly scene, she will remain nameless, but she had to reach down like she was grabbing the guy's balls. And, she grabs him by the balls and she's like, these are mine. And 24 takes, 23 of them were her like missing the mark of his thigh and actually hitting him in the balls. And we had to take at one point like a 15-minute break because he had to get up out of the chair and like go walk it off because she really got him good. And that's one of my favorite stunt stories.
I think we were in a cup or something.
Yeah.
Protection. It's like, okay, someone's going to try to grab me. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it was open for it. I don't know.
It's quite possible, but I mean, I'm
Take
sorry.
one for the team. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Good time, guys. Good time.
We also had the same film. My nephew hit my other nephew. Like they were supposed to be doing a kidnap scene, and they pull up in a van, guys jump out, they, hit him in the back of the head, throw him in the van, and he legitimately hit him with a slapjack. And we left it in because you could hear it, like you could hear the nice dull thud slap of the leather on his bare skull. And luckily no concussion or anything, but we thought we were going to wind up taking him to the hospital.
Oh my god.
Actually, a lot of films have stuff like that where an actor would mess up
Yes.
and they keep it in. I mean, the one that comes to my mind is Django Unchained. When Leo DiCaprio is having a dinner party, yelling at him, smacks his hand down, breaks a glass, and his hand starts bleeding. He just looks at it and he keeps going with his line, but he literally ripped open his hand. He's bleeding all over the place. But he kept going, and that accident, it kept it in because it was
Killer tomatoes.
there you go.
The helicopter flipped over, and it was an actual helicopter accident behind him, and they kept filming and left it in. The helicopter flipped over and ended up being on the propeller and just spinning with the 2 guys stuck in it. That was a legit accident.
Or one magic movie where that woman was Fisher or
The correct.
no. Now You See Me.
Oh, yeah.
Now You See Me. The one girl was actually drowning in that tank. like, and they kept it in because it looked so realistic.
Because it was.
Because it was.
Stuff like that. It's actually, just makes us, going back to the 90s, the movie Scream. There's a scene in there where, help me with his name, Steve Ulrich throws a phone across the room. I can't remember the guy's name. He played Shaggy. It's right on the top of it. Oh, well, I know, it's like right there, and I just thought of it. But,
the crazy thing is I can't think of his name either right now.
He told me I was his favorite character.
Exactly.
And then he told somebody that he liked their feet. They had big feet.
Yeah.
He told Caesar he had big feet. Yes.
Yeah. But we all know who we're talking about. I'm sure everyone knows who we're talking about. He throws the phone across.
Matthew Lillard.
Yes, Matthew Lillard. Thank you. Yeah. So he's there. He's bleeding, acting everything. Phone comes, hits him in the head. He's like, you hit me in the head, you dick. That literally was real. The blood was so sticky on Skeet's hand. When he threw it, it stuck to his hand and went right towards his head. It was supposed to smash, but they kept it in because he ad-libbed and it was funny.
The gun scene in Indiana Jones, where Indiana Jones shoots the guy. You know that with the sword?
Yeah.
He shoots the guy?
Yeah.
What happened is they had done so many takes that Harrison Ford got tired and for a joke shot the guy in the end.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be a whole fight scene.
Plus, he was actually sick at that time, too, so he fought through sickness doing all this stuff.
But, yeah, and then that was actually, I got left in.
Because it made sense. It was great.
He just had enough. Thanks, see you.
Like accidents that happen.
Oh, there are tons of things that happen. I'm gonna go back just because that's a really funny story. We were talking to Matt Lillard at New Jersey Horror Con, and he couldn't do an interview, but he turns around and he says to our director of photography, Caesar at the time, Caesar Pizarro, he says, "Man, I didn't want to make it weird." He says, I was going to say something to you in the elevator. He goes, felt out of place, but now you're at my table, so I have to say it. You have some really big feet. He's like, they're like the largest feet I've ever seen in Converse. And it was just really kind of unsettling. Like, is Matt Lillard having some kind of like foot fetish thing with us? Or like, what is this? And then
I don't want to talk about people in Monster Maine with foot fetishes.
Yeah, well, we went back the next day. We're getting ready to leave, and we're going back, like, saying goodbye to everybody. And, of course, it wound up being Matthew Lillard again. We walk up, and we end up catching him zipping his fly. And it's like, dude, this is now twice we caught you at your table in, like, really awkward moments, and he just laughed. So, might not be funny to everybody, but I think that's a really funny thing.
He's a cool guy. Mm-hmm. I woke up, some kid was freaked out about him, and then he started talking in a Shaggy voice, and the kid was like,
He likes kids.
Yeah, so, kids and alcohol.
Who does?
Ooh, dead air.
Well,
No, we're moving away
what?
because she just said something very bad, so that's why we were moving away.
Sorry.
That was a visual thing. She said, "Who doesn't like kids with alcohol?"
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
And that's why we're all like,
I said that wrong. Sorry.
Oh, very right, yes.
Very wrong.
Send all your letters to...
Angel.
No. Please don't. Please don't. I don't drink anyway.
No, they're for the kids.
It's for the kids. Why do you think they make the little bottles? You thought they were just for airplanes.
No.
Or the hotel rooms. I mean, if you want to get creepy here.
Whoa. Send your letters to him.
Why? You're the one that...
You just said about hotel rooms. That's another.
Yeah, but you didn't say anything about kids.
Exactly.
Well,
So send your letters to...
anyway, I had a question about.
Yes. Not about apples.
It's called a screwdriver.
Jeff, I had a question. Wait.
What?
This Jeff. There's really two Jeffs.
Hi, welcome to the show. That's
Stop
Jeffrey
it.
Jeffrey.
Okay, Jeff
Hey,
won.
Jeffrey Jeffrey. If that's what he is, Jeffrey Jeffrey.
Just make it easy. Jeffrey, Jeff. Okay.
Jeffrey Jeffrey.
Jeff won.
Thing one and thing two. Aren't you glad you drove all this way?
No, I'm not
Actually,
sure.
you drove all this way.
So what's your question?
Did you study any anatomy or
What did you drive me into, Jeff?
or any medical field to do? Stop it. To do makeup.
No.
No.
I'm actually.
Play girl subscriptions for?
No, seriously.
But you know, Tom Savini did. He was a war photographer, and he did that in the beginning, and that's where he got a lot of his inspirations. Because he did war photography of the bodies and stuff, right?
Yeah, which is very gruesome.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen those.
I don't want to be that dedicated.
Yeah.
Well, that's
This will be a great effect when I get home. Oh my god, look at that.
well, no.
But I know where you're going from. Like, did I study anatomy or anything that helps with practical?
Or like the medical field,
No, I'm actually all self-taught. So basically,
when work or anything.
No, I was going to ask you a question.
yeah, I heard you go. I'm like,
No, I was just going to ask you, a lot of my stuff, I do my stuff self-taught too. And it's trial and error. I try something and I keep trying it, I keep adjusting and advancing. Is that the way you do your stuff, trial and error?
yep. A lot of stuff I do, like, I'll use smooth on products a lot. So I'm like, oh, let me try this and mix it with that. Try to get the right compound. Try to figure out, okay, I can make this prosthetic this way as opposed to what the normal way is, which, I mean, I hate to say this, YouTube, a lot of stuff you can get off of YouTube if you know how to look for the right ones.
Okay, so you use a lot of YouTube.
YouTube, there's a lot of instructional videos out there already. That's the great thing about today. There's instruction videos on everything. So you
Okay.
can't find it.
So, when doing your prosthetics, so you use YouTube. What if you're not able to find what you're looking for? Do you use like looking at medical information or anything?
No, not really.
You,
I've never had an issue where I could not find something. So if I had a question, okay, I want to do this type of effect. Let me take a look online and see if anybody's ever done it, because there's nothing original these days. So you can always find something. So I'll find something either similar or completely different, but I'm like, oh, that could work for this. Especially if I take this, change like A and B, and then I can get this effect. And then I'll turn it into something like that.
You're always learning. Going back to you and small children, I learned from a small child. I'm watching this girl do
A martini?
yes, a martini. No, she was
Well, you're
Drawing
drawing
on
this, so I'm like,
she was
you're
drawing on a
doing
shirt with
Oh.
something, and I'm like, what are you doing? And here she had something called puck paint,
yeah.
which I'd never heard of before.
I've never heard this either.
And what it is you put it on and it puffs up. And then it stays on and you can wash the shirt and everything. And I'm like, huh. So then I took the puff paint because it bends, it's like a shirt, and started mixing it with liquid latex to make wood and stuff like that. And that's how I started. Because with paint, it worked, but sometimes the paint would get dry and stuff like that. Take the puff paint, then plus with the puff paint, you can make blood, trails, all that stuff. They have different colors. This little kid, and I was like, oh, and right after I left the house, I went right to Walmart. Said, hey. But, I learned, and you always learn, you always watch, you always pick something up. You might not be at a place, I wasn't at a place where I thought I would learn something to do with special effects, but you're always watching. And my dad taught me a long time ago, the last time you know everything is the last day you do it, because you always need to be learning.
Mm-hmm.
You always find somebody, if it's not from somebody else, it could be somebody you see, or even think about, like, okay, I know they did it this way, let's try it.
Well, what do you feel is like the hardest prosthetic that you've ever used or done or created?
Oh, hardest. Quiet. Yeah, Jeff had to go there.
Now, if Eric was here,
There you go. That's what I thought of.
Haven't really had any prosthetic that's been hard to apply or work with or create. Looking at Jeff here because I know exactly what he's thinking. Gerbils clicking up there, going. It's mostly like the materials I'm using. Like, if I don't do it right, then it gives you problems. So I've had that. See, I'm just gonna say because Jeff's gonna take it all away. I had one project where it was the summertime, so it's really hot. So I'm trying to put prosthetics on people, but the adhesive is not working correctly because it can't melt or it can't harden. Basically, adhere to things that drip off. Certain prosthetics, like smooth-on products, wouldn't, I don't want to say coagulate gel. It would just not dry properly, so it would just fall off and everything. So you do come up against those issues, like how do you solve this? Hair dryer. Thank you for jumping ahead. Sorry. You're right.
Did I just give away your clue?
No, but you're right.
Because I may have stole my mom's hair dryer, and she doesn't want it back anymore because it's got latex on it.
But yeah, that's one way to do that. If it's too hot, you try to get a fan or something to cool it down to get the right environment.
I've seen some people bake prosthetics.
Yeah, you can actually take latex and actually bake it, and it actually creates a foamy type feel to it. That's actually what they normally do in today. Whenever you see stuff on Face Off, whenever they bring the prosthetic back, that's what they do. They actually bake the prosthetic to actually get that soft texture.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever been asked to do?
Oh, I can't say that now. But in makeup, let's just say it involves mayonnaise, and that's all I know. So that was weird, wasn't it? Huh? That was weird.
That was the weirdest thing, really?
Filming his stuff is like the weirdest stuff. Like, okay, so we got to do this effect on this person's face.
I feel honored then.
Yeah.
But her skin looked good afterwards.
if it's what I think you had to make out of the mayonnaise, I can say potato soup works a lot better.
Well, we needed it to stick.
Oh, it sticks.
Oh, potato soup.
You can always add a little flour to it if you need to thicken it. But
Well, maybe we can reshoot the scene and see how it
No,
goes.
I don't think I can talk her into that.
But maybe if I ask nicely, because I think she still likes me. So.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't. Wait for the movie, then you'll understand.
so I was waiting to get a few more viewers, but I'm going to do it now. So I created a list of everyone who did our hashtag 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We were having problems last week, so we couldn't do the drawing last week. But if somebody can grab that fedora
Okay.
and shake it up, we'll have a.
Shake your fedora, shake it all the time. Shake, shake, shake your fedora, shake it all the time.
Now I just have to do a disclaimer. You were actually on the list
I was
because
going to say,
because you did the
you
hashtag.
can't pick.
No,
Well,
I can't.
I was going to have him pick anyway, but just to make it fair, Jeff, if you can reach over, Jeff, and you can draw the number out.
Draw the number out.
So before you give me the number, I just want to say as a disclaimer, prior to Jeffrey Scott being on the show, he did hashtag in a contest to win the 2 zombie books that we're giving away.
So at that time, I had no affiliation.
Right, you had no affiliation, but now you are, a guest on the show, so we still have to, honor that you were part of the contest. So, if you can give me the number from there.
It's just IQ, 2.
Okay, so we will enter into the official record. It's number 2. we won't be able to see it on the camera, but
just in case anybody wants to screenshot and blow it up, you'll see it as the number 2.
Right. So number 2 would be Colleen Siebert. We will get your address and everything. You're local, so I may just like drop that off for you at some point. So yeah, Colleen Siebert wins Zombies vs. Robots 1 and 2, both of them autographed by the 2 authors, Joe and Marisha Catulli. So we will
number 1 since it was the first.
We will get in touch and get out there to get those to you ASAP. So with that taken care of and my lung falling out, we will get back to the show. So we're gonna segue into a little thing here. We're gonna put about maybe 15 minutes into it because I do want to cover this as a whole entire issue. But I know Jeff is not a cosplayer. I know you sometimes do costume at conventions. Do you do your own characters? Okay. So these guys are not cosplayers. So what we wanted to segue into is the difference between cosplay and actually presenting your own characters in, event settings. So I'll let you guys,
A friend of mine came up with it because they said to him, "Are you a cosplayer?" And he wasn't a cosplayer either. Well, he was a cosplayer, but wasn't all the time. He did both. So he came up with the term character impersonator.
Right, which is actually
that's what I started using after a while, because we're not taking a known character.
We're creating from scratch.
Right, we're starting from scratch. Now, in ways it's easier, and ways it's harder. Cosplay, it's easier to get the character over because they're starting with a character known. It's harder for us to get a character known because we're starting with nobody knowing what the character is. But in the turnaround, it's harder for a cosplayer to get it right sometimes because there's so many judgmental people out there. Oh, you've done this wrong, you don't have this right, stuff like that, where they have to get it.
Who's ever heard of a fat Spider-Man?
Right.
Yeah.
Come on. Which is always at every convention. It's always the fat Spider-Man.
But I like the Italian Spider-Man.
I haven't seen him either.
But there's actually, go on YouTube and look up, there's a guy that was called the Italian Spider-Man. There was a movie and everything.
Really?
And there's a guy that cosplays as him at conventions. And I found out that it is a real thing. But, so it's 50-50. In some aspects it's harder, in some aspects it's easier. But some people tend to think one is better, and some people tend to think other better, and stuff like that. And that's where there's actually a kind of a debate of which is easier and which is, somebody that comes in and cosplays as something well known and somebody else that comes in and cosplays as something that's not known, but they're both known on the convention scene in the same area and the same level.
I think I know exactly where you're going with Jeff. Like I do a character, but a lot of people don't really know who that character is because I'm not like you. I'm not really out there so people know who Porkchop is as opposed to mine. They just see, hey, this guy looks really cool right now, but he's not an established character.
But Porkchop isn't an established character either. I'm talking about when you go out there and you see, like I had a girl tell me one time, she walked by and she says, "I just want to tell you," she goes, "I was on the phone with my mom." And she goes, "I'm talking to my mom. My mom asked me," girl worked for Great Adventure. And she goes, they were actually used to recruit. Fright Fest was there at Monster Mania. She says, their mom asked her how it was. And she goes, "Mom," she goes, "there's a bunch of Jasons, there's a bunch of Freddys, there's a bunch of Michaels, but by God, there's a giant pig dragging a girl around on a harness." But that got me known. But the Michaels and all that, it's established.
Yeah, I mean, you always see somebody dressed as that. It could be anybody dressed as a Michael Myers or whatever, but you don't see anybody dressed as Pork Chop all the time. Or a Ripper. Or a Ripper, yeah. So that's what I'm saying, where, yeah, these guys look cool, so they like them more, but yet, oh, this guy's dressed as Jason. Oh, he looks pretty cool, that's cool, but I've seen like 5 of them in the next room.
Right.
Whereas you go in, it's like, oh my god, that picture's freaking me out, or Uncle Timmy's freaking me out because I like clowns, you know. There's that whole thing where you have these characters and you're making their names known. I mean, you mentioned the name Father Evil, everyone's going to know what that is now because how long did it take? What, 5 years, 6 years to really get the name out? Because you go into conventions all the time and you're talking to people and you're getting yourself out there. Whereas people that just throw on a Spider-Man mask and walk around going, hey, I'm Spider-Man, take the picture, take the picture. It's like, you know, or, yeah, what are some of the big ones? All of them. Harley Quinn, you know, all versions now.
Well, that's when you. Well, one thing that I would say is I wouldn't call them character impersonators. I would actually call cosplayers character impersonators because they are dressing as an established character, whereas you guys are establishing your own character. So you're not really impersonating anybody else.
Yeah, but cosplay is already the word that's already out there for people that are cosplaying
The characters.
already established characters.
Me being a girl, I find it very frustrating.
They're being a girl's frustrated. So.
Stop.
How do you find being a girl?
Stop it. He's not
Okay,
a, I find it very frustrating because you're like typecast. Either you're sexy, sexy something. Wait.
Let me get my thought out.
Let me get my thought out. Or there is a few people though that go outside the box and do other things where they think of different ideas where they become either like the Beetlejuices, or they take the ideas that usually are in the male roles.
Gender bending.
Yeah, gender bending, and they take it and they take a spin on it. Or they take the costumes that you wouldn't think of, like the older costumes, like the people that would be old, like old in the movies, and they take a different outlook of it and they change it and make it modern. But you don't see that much really when you go to certain conventions. You see more or less the girls that are prancing around in nothing.
That's because when they're normal day, they're prancing around in nothing. That's what it is. They're just there to prance around in nothing because. No, yes. The Monster Mania in the lobby, there was 2 girls that were just pretty much in bikinis. There was no costume, there was no nothing. They were just standing there, and somebody goes, "What are they supposed to be?" And I said, "I don't know, Jersey Shore bimbos or murder victims." I have to be.
But it's kind of frustrating though, because you're like, that's not even cosplaying. That's not even trying to have a costume. They're just dressing like
sluts.
Thank you. And not even. It's like them getting to have Halloween on a different day and act like.
Well, just so you know, it doesn't always work. Because there is a certain individual that beat out women for sexiest. Though women usually won that contest.
Like the gentleman that was dressed like Buffalo Bill.
Screw him. How about me?
I
won sexiest.
When was that?
Within the past year.
I don't
Yes,
believe.
Wilbur won sexiest.
I might not have
As a
been
porn
there,
star.
unfortunately.
Yes, Buffalo Bill. Did Buffalo Bill win though?
Buffalo Bill did win one.
He won once a long time ago.
Yes. And
there's still people that have issues with that because when you do something like that, you have to take in consideration what you're doing, and apparently he threw stuff into the crowd, which didn't really do well.
I don't think at that time I don't.
No, it had nothing to do with
Oh no, he threw hand lotion.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of frustrating when.
Well, what I would say to you is, you do, and I say the same thing to a lot of people, create your own character.
I know.
Because anybody can be victim number 5, Michael Myers number 3.
Yeah.
You need to be something else. And that's or something obscure, because I'm not going to be able to remember the movie now. I did one of your jobs, totally went right out of my head, but there was a movie, and I saw a guy cosplay the killer once, and nobody had any idea who he was. I knew, and it was a movie where there was a guy, maybe you know, he was turning people into wax figures, and he built his old house. Waxworks? No, it wasn't. No, that was they had a museum. He just turned people into figures, wax figures, and then he had like a house. I mean, he wore a dress, and he had a lady costume and stuff, and would go and it's sitting on home, like my TV. And somebody famous was in it too, but he would kidnap people, turn them into these figures, and then sit them around his house like taxidermy.
But I was wax, was it?
No, it had nothing to do with wax.
Okay.
It wasn't. That's just what he did. People would come and trespass on his property, and it's going to bother me. So go ahead, you guys. But yeah, you see stuff, and you see people that work.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I know 2 people that actually take the time out and think really hard about their costumes, and they always win. And they gender bend their ideas. They don't typically go for what a normal female role. They usually do like a male role, or I don't remember. The one just had, I believe, a baby. Corey, yes.
Yeah, Corey. Oh.
Corey and then
Corey did female predator, but she did Dozer, she did female predator, and then she did something, I don't know what the show is, something monsters.
Real Monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. And nobody knew that was her, because she was pregnant, said she wasn't going to show up, and found a costume that she could hide. But she did, if anybody knows the killer from Dead Silence.
Yes,
she did her too, which was
really well.
She's a very talented.
Very talented. And she did a lot of other ones that were really good.
She used to be part of Mayhem and News, but then she fixed off.
And then there was another one. I don't remember her name. But all the other ones you see are like they usually dress up as Sexy Freddy or Sexy Jason, or it's just frustrating to see that they don't come up with original costumes, and it's always like. It's hard. I want to see. Instead of having sexy costumes, it should be more people focusing on gender bending and trying to work on costumes that.
But they have a sexy category, and that's the issue.
They need to get rid of that.
But they don't, because what it is you have to cater. I did a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought in three women.
Mm-hmm.
The one woman was blood. I knew she would get messy. She didn't care. The other girl was the most popular girl I've ever seen in my life, to the point that she worked at a strip bar, and she was a bartender, and she had a bigger following than the dancers.
Wow. And
the third was the hot looking girl. And I brought all 3 of them in there because you had something for everybody. And that's what you need. You need, in order, guys aren't going to go to the costume contest 9 times out of 10 to watch the costume contest. They're going to, why do you think they have the sexiest at the end?
I gotcha.
And that's
Wilbur. That's why.
They want to see Wilbur.
But that's pretty much, you have to cater
To your audience.
To your audience.
And sometimes, like with those pictures, I did the pictures with the girls, and then I slid a couple of the pictures in that I wanted to do in between. But that's what you have to do. You have to sometimes cater to stuff like that. So you don't worry about that, and you go there and you do what you want to do. Because there's always going to be, because just like, you know, they say video games. Oh, no, I'm sorry, let's go with the horror movies. Horror movies make killers. You watch killing all the time, then you're going to go out and kill. That's not what makes killers.
It doesn't.
And just like that, excuse for back of the letter turn, the sexy girls that want to walk around half naked have an excuse and have an okay to be somewhere walking around in public half naked. It's, you know, and it's what they want to do. You can't fault them.
No.
Because I want to walk around dressed like a giant pig. They want to walk around half naked in public. They're doing what they want to do.
Probably gonna get a lot of hate mail.
Not really. It's just your opinion. But a lot of people are like that.
It's the nature of the beast.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast. You have to sometimes compromise.
Well, what I get a lot of criticism for is when I express that as inappropriate it is for guys to behave a certain way. If you are dressed in, you know, if you are scantily clad and you expect to walk through a room and not get some kind of catcalls or some kind of, you know, rude comment or something somewhere, and again, I'm not condoning the behavior of it, there are assholes everywhere. So you have to accept when you're going to walk into a horror convention dressed in a bikini and 6-inch stiletto heels,
There's going to be an asshole there.
there's going to be an asshole that's going to make a comment that's going to,
be drunk.
like, you know, not even always drunk. So you have to go into it with the mindset, if you are in your rainbow colored bubble, that, you know, you're going to go through this convention without, like, you know, somebody saying something, might as well carry a hat pin and pop it for yourself, because it's going to get rapidly popped. And in every industry, I'm talking from films to music to everything, down to your McDonald's cheeseburger. Sex sells. That is why they make things sexy. It appeals to both sides of the audience, and unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Well, did you guys see recently? I don't know if it was a commercial or online. They were posted. This girl is called Mrs. Giggles. Goes ice skating, and they were trying to see how many reactions she would get ice skating in New York. And she's got this prosthetic that across her face with the teeth, sharp teeth, and it goes down, so it looks like she has, her mouth is really wide, and she's got this scary makeup on while she's ice skating, and all you see is the children just stopping where they're at, just staring at her, and she just continues skating, and it's just for effect to see how many people she would affect. It was like a social effect.
Try riding the high-speed ride. And we had the whole front of the train to ourselves.
Oh,
Just
train.
nobody wanted to come near us. And we just sat there, and they were all packed in the back. And then finally somebody got on, and they were like, we're not going to stand back there. There's no standing room. They came up front, and our zombie Easter bunny gave the kid candy, and then everybody wanted to come up and get free candy.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that story actually.
But
Wasn't that the first time you went to the zombie film? Or have you been doing
I don't know. I don't know if that was the first time. I just knew when I came back, I thought my band was going to be under watch because they put all the blood on right outside my van. So my van was here, and then the parking spot next to it, there was a big pool of blood pretty much, with blood everywhere.
Oh gosh.
And did you have your props in the car at the time too?
No, but I did give some girl a ride one time, and she goes, "Should I be concerned that there's blood on the inside of this door back here?"
Oh my.
What?
I once had an experience going to Zombie Jesus Day down on South Street. The
That's what
whole
we were talking about. We rode the train.
and I drove a white pickup truck, which all right. So that at least reconnected. This is number. Yeah, but
It's been doing that to a lot of people. No,
I don't think it said
Oh,
four.
I know.
Net neutrality. That's all.
I know with mine, it's weather. So sometimes somebody, I think they were stuck in the mud and they weren't in a good spot because the weather was bad and they kept it turned off. But go ahead. So you had a bunch of zombies in your truck.
Yeah, so they all pile onto my truck, and I get up 2 hours early the next day because my car was covered in zombie thing. Scrubbed the day I worked. I didn't drive that truck for work that day. It wasn't. Went to leave and asked for the keys to the truck, and my brother-in-law just turned and said, "I don't know what's on my truck. I don't care. It better not be there tomorrow." And then I realized in the sunlight that, I had red and pink and guts and all this trying to wash it, in the dark at 5 a.m. that
I got pulled over by a cop. Couldn't figure out why he was looking at me so funny till I remembered that night at the haunt, I had somebody put makeup on underneath my mask. So when I got home and looked in the mirror, I looked like I'd been in a fight, had 2 black eyes, red around my mouth, and all that stuff.
Isn't that me that did that? I think I put the music on you. You might have. Because I remember you told me about that, and they said, it's like, dude, I woke up, man. I looked like my mascara was running.
Oh, no, that was something else. No, I washed that shit off.
So I had to get one more. I had to definitely get one more thing in, and before we get any more camera interruptions, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can reach it. That wonderful box back there. Which we're gonna open this up. This is a. I don't know why it's shipped from that company. If you see the name on that label.
Aries Games?
Yes, Aries Games. But if you look, there's something else that says like furniture or something. So this is from Aries Games.
That could be the same thing when
Don't open it yet.
Sorry.
when Immortal Masks, their company used to be next to, I guess, another business, and they shipped through them. So when you got your Immortal Mask, it said some name of a company you never heard of, E&GB or whatever, but they've since got their own place.
So we're gonna unbox this. I already know what it is. I had to check it because, I had to make sure it wasn't damaged or anything in shipping, before presenting it on the show. But we're gonna actually unbox this wonderful thing from Aries Games, and now you can open the box.
Okay, sorry. Jump the gun.
Just like a woman, just want to rip that box right open. It's not shoes.
Wow.
I was talking to Jeff.
I don't like shoes.
Anyways,
You already know it's not a dildo.
I know you're disappointed.
Yeah, it's definitely not a dildo.
Oh, look, it's falsies.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, both. Yeah, make sure you get them.
Oh, I know what this is.
You know where they go. I get this out.
Oh.
So we had this shipped in from Aries Games, and they were kind enough to give us a copy of this, and either next week or the following week, I haven't decided yet, we are gonna bring a crew in here to sit down and play this game, which
So your eyes to.
it is the last Friday game, which is the ultimate horror survival experience. So I am looking forward to opening this up and sitting here on a live show opening this game.
I'll enjoy it.
And
Yeah, he does a board podcast.
Board game podcast.
have you played this before?
I actually haven't.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
But yeah, this is something that I am looking forward. I will not be playing. I will obviously be running the controls back here, but this is something that I'm looking forward to getting into. Wait, come here.
You don't want to know. This is what he does off air.
Take it up.
Oh yeah. Here it comes.
Yeah, you can see what's underneath.
You gotta upload.
Yeah, just don't pop them because I need to ship something. So
I'm not gonna
I'm gonna reuse those.
Yeah, I was watching a video about it. It's really good.
According to what they say, it takes about 45 minutes a chapter,
Yeah.
which means on the show, if that is accurate, we can probably play 2 chapters. We'll probably only play one.
I can tell you right now, playing games, learning it, and actually playing it are 2 different things.
Oh, of course.
If you do play this, make sure you know what you're doing ahead of time to speed it up.
Do you know what you're doing?
I always know what I'm doing.
We might want to have.
That is possible. I do have a video. We'll let everybody know like who's going to be coming out to play the game and who's going to be on live. I've had several people already ask to be on the show, so we will see how that goes.
Just vibrate it.
I played a new one now. It's the next version of what's that disgusting game everybody plays? Times Against Humanity.
Oh, that.
There's a new one now.
Oh, it's even worse. It's called
Yeah, I played that.
I think it's just called Bad Humanity or something.
No, it's
Or Nastier or something.
no,
Does that
it's
game get any more?
no, it's not. It's not. It's somebody
worse.
else.
Oh.
It's somebody else, and it's something about knowing your friends or something. I played it with people I didn't know. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is every time you hold that box straight up, like I'm watching you guys in the reflection of the box from the camera reflecting. So I had like this like multiverse screen here of like
Like the one guy said recently when he peed and there was a mirror on each side of him. He said it's like you're peeing with the Rockettes.
Yeah, pretty much.
This definitely
It's like,
looks interesting after I watched the whole video I sent you. It definitely looks interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something that we'll have a lot of fun with. And I want to thank Aries Games for sending that to us. I think that's a pretty because it's not a cheap game. It is
No, it's not.
it is a high price tag item for my budget. You can get it for around $40, I think, on Amazon.
Yeah, correct.
But it'll be worth the fun of playing it.
And they have different ones too.
Well, we're only going to focus on the one they sent us.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anybody can go and visit their website. But we're only gonna promote the one that they gave to us. So yeah, I'll let you guys take it out. We have about 6 minutes left, and you guys can promote all your own stuff and finalize the episode here and go.
I'm a guest. You guys are.
Go ahead. You're the guest.
I don't know what I'm supposed to know, but
Well, any upcoming projects? Any
projects I
upcoming?
can't talk about other than be on the lookout for.
what about
Any
that's what it's called. It's called Disturbed Friends.
okay.
That actually sounds nice.
Any upcoming? Are you attending any upcoming conventions or upcoming
Events and stuff.
events?
Might make an appearance at Monster Mania.
Okay.
If anything, it might be a day trip. Sorry, Jeff. Only because money is tight right now with some stuff. And of course, I try to hit every convention if I can, but right now, I'm trying to only focus on maybe the main ones. So,
Are you going to hit New Jersey Con?
possibly, I might go to New York.
I wasn't going to go, but then they said Peter Chris.
That's another reason why. I mean, they keep showing all these stars. I'm like, I don't know where to go to. I might show up at one of them. So, I might even be in character. You never know. So you check out the River of Souls on Facebook and see if I'm going to be there.
But you'd see him with a pair of shorts walking through the lobby of Monster Mania. If not, I'll share the picture with you.
No.
I still got it.
I know you still have it. Well, because I went to the pool. Okay.
But, you know, it's always fun to be at a horror convention and go to the pool and then come back in just shorts, shirtless with a towel wrapped around, and your flip-flops, and everybody's looking at you like, the fuck?
Oh, you forgot his hat. He had his driving
I
hat
also have a shirt on, too.
Yeah, no.
I
I always hate
for the
that.
fact I went to the
See, that's why I
It
went
was
on.
hot.
That's why I went on Thursday.
Just to see me going on.
No, I went to the pool on Thursday. There's nobody there.
We actually went last convention. I think you were with us. I'm not
Oh, yeah,
sure.
we did photos of the pool.
We did a photo shoot at the pool with the whole cast of Creepy Manor, including like a friend of ours who showed up as a character who never made it onto the show, and you know,
There was a barbecue outside, and we barbecued it.
yeah,
I think I remember that.
We did it on the barbecue.
but
Yeah.
that's the one thing to remember. We're always a good time.
Well, what about your podcast? What you involved in that? What they eat or whatever?
Sadly, I hate to say this, What the Geek kind of ended.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
What is he doing then?
Yeah, nothing. No. He's, see, I don't want to name him, but he's focusing on the job. I think the local. Oh, sorry. But anyways, so I hate to say it, right now, we're not doing a podcast at the moment. But who knows? You never know what might come down the road. Sometimes podcasts come back. Sometimes they don't.
I'm gonna take a guess. I'm just gonna say initials JR.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he had mentioned something to me about it.
Is there a way of people contacting you if they want some work done?
Well, I'm on Facebook.
Craigslist, back page. Oh, sorry.
Well, we were going to make Uncle Tim's Bad Day. I don't know what happened with that, too. Just disappears. Well, I'm on Facebook. You can always look me up there, Jeff Scott. So that's right. You can also find me through Jeff here. I'll see through that. So, yes, I'm friends on your list. Don't even deny it. Don't deny it. So, that's all I got.
Okay.
Go on to bloodshedforums.com. It's up there.
Okay, Bloodshed Farms.
Bloodshedforums.com.
All right. I was going to leave that for you. Let you have the mic.
No, I got it. See, look, we can make Dognado. It's like a tornado. I will say, Monster Mania, that was one of the most interesting costumes that I saw, where the girl came dressed as Sharknado and then spun. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was creative.
Of course, sharks out too.
Of course, creative never wins, but so we got Uncle Timmy on Facebook. We got Pork Chops Fan of Pain on Facebook. Who you got?
That's all you got?
Me?
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Okay. You can find me
JJ Kratzer on PlayStation.
PlayStation, really? Okay. You can find me underneath Angel Marie on public figure. You also can find me underneath Marie Angel on Facebook. That's about all my pages.
At the mini bar, no Dollies, hotels,
No, I'm not.
Only with children.
only with children.
No, all the children.
I will say that's a good idea because at Monster Mania we may have been walking around with a small child, but all the adults had sippy cups. When security comes up and says, "What do you got?" and I said, "Oh, it's hers." And we were all walking around with sippy cups, drinking out of sippy cups.
But now that they know that, they know what to watch out for.
Oh,
Right.
that guy's old. He don't even know what a computer is.
Now they know our ideas.
No, he's that old guy. The one time he couldn't even put on his. We had to tell him his nameplate was crooked.
True.
But now everyone's going to walk around with sippy.
Yeah, I didn't have anything in my.
Well, I don't care. But
Just as we're getting ready to close up, Lee Hoffman says, "Great costume." I'm not sure which costume he's referring to, but
She. Lee, it's a she.
Hi, Lee.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lee. I thought you were someone else.
Great costume.
But yes, great costume. Not sure.
I'll take credit for it. I don't know.
She might have been.
The Sharknado.
You know what?
Yes,
She might be
Sharknado.
talking about the Sharknado costume. Okay,
Yeah.
because this does lag behind.
Lee Hoffman makes some great costumes.
Yeah, she just commented and said Sharknado.
Yes.
So on that note, we are over our hour and a half mark. It is 9:01, and we're going to close the show down. Remember, go and visit the Dead Dollies page. Oh no, we'll get to that in a minute. Go to the Dead Dollies page, which is facebook.com/TheDeadDollies. Visit our Creepy Manor page, and we give a quick shout, real quick to our sponsors. That would be Zombies vs. Robots, series 1 through 4. But to look them up, you've got to go to facebook.com, Robots vs. Zombies. Also, Erosion Factory Radio Show. Their broadcast will be tomorrow, 3 p.m. Western or Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And a special thank you again to Aries Games for sending us a copy of Last Friday, which we will be playing on an upcoming show.
Can you survive the kid?
Unlike the Ice Cube movie.
Yeah.
So, I am Jay Recluse.
Angel Marie, Connoisseur.
Jeff Kratzer.
And I'm Jeff Scott. Nice to meet you.
And thank you all for watching. See you next time.
See you next Tuesday.